I call to order the regular Storm Lake City Council meeting of February 2nd, 2026. All who are able, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Council, are there any changes to the agenda? Okay. Hearing none, then I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda as is.
So moved.
Moved by Councilperson Ramos. Is there a second?
Second.
Councilperson Reiner. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. The agenda is set. Council members, are there any disclosures to any items on the agenda?
Yes.
Okay, Councilperson Martinez.
Number 7, the resolution regarding Highview, is it Highview Drive? I will sit out as my employer is the requester.
Okay, so noted. So you will be abstaining from that.
Yes, correct.
Thank you. Any other disclosures from the council? Hearing no other disclosures, then we will move to hear the public. Are there any members of the public who would like to speak to the council on a non-agenda item? Is there anyone online who would like to speak to the council on a non-agenda item? If so, it's *6 to unmute.
This meeting is being recorded.
No one? Okay, thank you. Announcements, Ms. Navratil.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor and Council. I want to take this opportunity to introduce our new Public Works Director, new or returning, however you want to explain that. But Ron Covert is our new Public Works Director. He started a week ago Monday. So welcome. Happy to have you back. Thank you.
Ron. Council, are there any questions or comments on the consent agenda? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
So moved by Councilperson Martinez. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, this will be a roll call vote because it does include a resolution. Councilperson Piercy.
Aye.
Councilperson Martinez.
Aye.
Councilperson Rickliffs.
Aye.
Councilperson Ramos.
Aye.
Councilperson Reiner.
Aye.
The consent agenda is approved. So moving into new business, the first item is fiscal year 2026-2027 outside agency question and answer session. Mr. Gibbons.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor and Council. This agenda item will open the Q&A session for outside agency funding fiscal year 27. Each agency will be given 3 minutes to explain the program and proposal to the City Council. The Council may then ask their questions of the applicants. Determination of the level of funding will be made during our budget workshops later this month and into the next. Before we get into the specifics of the request, I would just want to take a moment to review the rules and proceedings for outside agency funding. Governments are prohibited from making direct donations and in-kind contributions that nonprofits to the Iowa Constitution. However, there are 2 situations which public funds may be provided to nonprofits. The first is through economic development for purposes to satisfy Chapter 15A of the Iowa Code. The second is to enter a contract for service with the nonprofit. The agreement should be in writing, so we do require that all applicants sign a outside agency funding terms and conditions of each party are outlined in that contract and are unambiguous. There should be clear language that the government and the public purpose that is being served in that contract. It should also state that the governing body retains the ability to oversee and control those expenditures of those funds. It should be noted that the city funds cannot be used to operate programs by private citizens, and it would require adequate oversight. Generally speaking, the agreements, like we discussed, or like I mentioned before, and we've done previously, provide that public purpose and is clearly stated. As long as the public purpose is attained within those agreements and by the services provided by the applicant, it's eligible to be provided through outside agencies. For the purpose of this Q&A, we'll just start with the order in which the applications which were attached to your agenda. So we'll start with Imagine the Possibilities.
My name is Anita Schlender. I'm with Imagine. I've been with Imagine for just about 20 years. We're an adult disability provider here in Storm Lake, so we serve about 75 people. Our request is to use the Chautauqua Shelter House for our rehabilitation program. It's a recognition program. It serves about 30 people on average a day during the week. So some of the things that they might do are recognition things, just trying to increase their social skills. We want to get them out in the community, make friends, meet community members, give back to their community, so we do a lot of volunteering. But we do tend to look for places to land, whether it's for restrooms, for meal times, just maybe somewhere just when an activity might be done to finish their day or to fulfill their day. The program does run from 9 to 2:45, like I said, during the week. So I know we've been granted the ability to use that this last couple of years. We really appreciated that. This past year's been unfortunate because of the storm, that the shelter house has not been usable for us. But we're hoping that this coming year will allow us to do the same thing. We would love to be able to clean up after ourselves. I know we'll take just some general disinfectant wipes, but if we did have the ability to access the janitorial closet, we would sweep, mop, do a little bit better job on some of those other areas if we had access to those things. So if you do consider us again this coming year, please consider the use of those supplies also, so that we can really thoroughly clean up after ourselves.
Thank you. Council, any questions?
I do have a question.
Councilperson Martinez.
What have you been doing without the shelter house?
Just find another place.
Just
Yep.
going wherever you
We
can?
tend to, unfortunately, we tend to land in a lot of other communities, so Elton, Newell, Spencer, we tend to go to quite a bit, but it really is nice to stay local, at least with one of the groups. With 30 people, they're not all in one group, so there's usually 3 opportunities for activity choices each day when people do attend, so they've got some options and some choices. So it's really nice to have at least one in-town option for people who might have appointments or might not feel good or who might struggle and just need to have more support closer to their home. So.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions, council? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll do the Bridge of Storm Lake.
Good evening, my name is Izzy Ramos. I'm the Director of Operations at the Bridge of Storm Lake. We are a youth-focused nonprofit here in town, and what we're asking for funds for is to help fund our summer program, specifically with transportation, supply, and food costs. In the month of July is what I'll focus on. We spend a lot of time getting kids into parks, playing, teaching them. We've done a lot of food insecurity stuff. I had a whole thing planned. I'm so sorry. We do a lot of food. We try to combat food insecurity. We
go to and from. So I think a big barrier for a lot of youth in Storm Lake is getting to the program. And so that's something that's a little bit different from us, is from others, is that we go and knock on the door and we wait for them to get their clothes on, get their shoes on, get ready for the day, rather than having these set times. And so transportation is absolutely key to what we do. In July, we have 3 big weeks, but 2 here in town. One is, we call it our Bridge Camp, and that's where we teach kids how to, there are a lot of STEAM activities. There's a lot of creative activities. We've partnered with Whittier Gallery, with Iowa State Extension, with, I can only remember her name, excuse me, a woman who comes in and teaches them about agriculture and those kinds of things. We also, throughout the summer, partner with the city to take our middle schoolers out for volunteer opportunities to give them a chance to give back to their community, but also to keep them busy, because not busy middle schoolers are not great middle schoolers. And so that's the key piece of our summers. And so the big piece of what we're asking for is transportation for our 2 15-passenger vans and our 72-passenger bus to be able to get the kids to and from programming, food to be able to provide snacks and meals, and then for supplies, just, those random arts and crafts and things like that maybe can't get donated.
Thank you. Questions from the council? Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll do Upper Des Moines next.
Good afternoon. I'm Shakira Meyer, Director of Development at Upper Des Moines Opportunity, and many of you will know Maggie. She is our amazing outreach specialist here in Storm Lake, and she came along tonight in case you have special questions that I can't answer, because she knows everything in that office. At Upper Des Moines Opportunity, we are requesting contribution and support again this year to support the client services program that we offer. And under that, client services is a whole host of things. We have the energy program of LIHEAP, but that doesn't always cover the energy costs for a family. There might be a little bit more of a burden, so client services can help with that. It also helps in a lot of other places, filling the gap that addresses food insecurity with our food pantry program. Maggie has tremendous support here in Storm Lake for that. But there are times where, we're purchasing through Food Bank of Iowa. A little bit about those that we assist here right in the city of Storm Lake. Last year, there were 713 households, and by last year, our fiscal year runs on the federal, so October through September. So 713 households utilized our client services through Upper Des Moines. That consisted of 2,161 individuals. Of that, 846 of those are children, and that's birth to 17. We have another group of the seniors, the senior citizens 60 and above is the classification there, and that was 229 individuals. But then we also have a group of individuals, 18 to 59, that was over 1,000 individuals. And those are those individuals that paycheck is not filling the gaps that it needs to. There's a space between paying their living expenses and having everything that they need to sustain their family. We've appreciated the support of the city of Storm Lake, and with that, Upper Des Moines Opportunity is always contributing back, and we look forward to continuing that partnership. So if there's any questions.
Questions from the council? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Can I say something? I just want to say thank you, because I always have a lot of support from everybody, from all of you. I continue working very hard. Food pantries every Tuesday and Thursdays. Tuesday for my seniors, Thursdays for the families. I'm working very hard with LIHEAP, energy assistance, to help families with the gas bill for the winter. We are doing another program, Embrace Iowa. That one is where we help families if they have a medical bill, if they need to fix their car, if they need rental assistance, we can help with that too. Right now, we just came back from Grettinger. We had our staff meeting, and we're going to start the SHORE program. I love that one because we give $100 to our seniors, and I'm going to be able to help 50 of my seniors thanks to the budget that we have. So I appreciate all the support, and I will continue working hard, and thank you.
Thank you. We
Thank you
appreciate
for all
you
you
as
do,
well.
Maggie.
Thank you.
And Storm Lake United.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I am Andrea Almanza, Activities Director for Storm Lake United. I oversee our community events and promotions throughout the year. I brought a trifold flyer tonight that highlights our events for the year, but I'd like to focus specifically on Wood, Wine, and Blues and how we're intentionally evolving it to better serve our community. Last year was the first time Laura and I organized the festival, and we were very intentional about observing what worked well and where improvements could be made. We made some changes last year, like moving the quick carve directly in front of the stage. This increased visibility and engagement. We also added live auctions that immediately followed the quick carve and final carvings, which added excitement to the event. A beer garden was also introduced, which created a natural gathering space and added another element to the festival. It was successful enough that we plan to bring it back. A Wood, Wine, and Blues committee was formed, which officially began meeting in June. Even with a short planning window, it showed us the value of having community voices involved in shaping the festival. Moving forward, we plan to expand the committee and invite more community members to take part into shaping the event. We actually had our first meeting today. Our goal for Wood, Wine, and Blues is to truly offer something for everyone, whether that's music, carving, food, vendors, or simply the overall experience. Anyone who wants to be a part of that process is welcome to reach out and get involved. Keeping all that in mind, we also want to focus on inclusivity. Storm Lake is a diverse community, and we're intentionally exploring ways to reflect that through music and programming, so the festival feels welcoming and representative to the community that we serve. One observation was that the energy dropped significantly on Sunday. So with that in mind, we're shifting the festival from Friday through Sunday to Thursday through Saturday. Thursday will focus solely on carving, no vendors or entertainment. This will keep costs low and it'll spotlight the artist. Friday will include carving, the tradition of the quick carve, food vendors later in the day, a beer garden, hopefully, and evening entertainment. Saturday will be the jam-packed with everything that you know that makes up Wood, Wine, and Blues, including lots of kids' activities, the wine tasting, more music, and etc. Ending the festival on a high note. I also want to acknowledge that this event truly would not be possible without the city's incredible support and our community partners. City staff helped with logistics, layout, walkthroughs, setup, and answering questions. Kings Pointe provided lodging for our carvers, musicians, and others, along with more than a dozen local businesses providing in-kind sponsorship for key elements. These contributions are essential to making this event possible. City funding plays an important role in covering core infrastructure and entertainment, keeping the event free and accessible, and allowing us to continue improving it in a reasonable and sustainable way. We are proud of how Wood, Wine, and Blues is evolving and appreciate the opportunity to share these plans with you, and we're happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions, council?
I have a question.
Councilperson Ramos.
What are some of the plans that you have to be more inclusive or attract more community members to these events?
Music and food. People love food, and people love entertainment, so we're looking at shaping it so that we could either have a band that highlights, different culture, trying to expand the food options as well, possibly just entertainment. We're still in the brainstorming process, but we're trying to be more inclusive and highlight all of that.
I do have a question.
Councilperson Martinez.
Do you charge your vendors?
Last year, we did not charge. It was free for all vendors. That included the wineries, the craft vendors, all the vendors that you saw. This year, we are looking at charging a vendor fee, just because we did have a lot that did not show up. So not only does it secure that they will show up, but it also will help with some of the costs.
Other questions, council? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Also, great idea of changing the days. Because Sunday was sad.
Mr. Gibbons, is there anyone else who submitted an application who is not on our agenda?
These were the only applications that I received by the deadline.
I see a representative from Witter Art Gallery. Did you submit an application?
Yes, we did.
Did you email it or did you?
I have a copy of it here.
Mr. Johnson, Dr. Johnson, would you like to just come up and present?
Okay.
And then we'll work out where the paperwork is.
All right. It's like in class when the student goes, I know I handed it in.
The dog ate it. So.
Yeah. Well, thank you for taking time to listen to us. My name is Jerry Johnson. I'm on the board of directors for Witter Gallery. And first, on behalf of the Witter Gallery board, thank you for listening to what Witter Gallery is doing in the community to support the arts and culture. And we really can't make this happen without all of us and everyone in the community. Some highlights about the Witter Gallery, for those who may like to know more. We have monthly art shows, exhibits with local artists and nationally known artists, and 100% of that is free to the public. We average around 500 guests a month, and there is no cost to any of these visitors. And we continue to add art classes and new instructors. In fact, during the month of February, we have 4 scheduled art classes for all ages. Specifically, during the summer, we have art camps and activities, and they've been well attended and very successful. We participate in planning community outreach like Harmony Gardens, which we're planning for a special event. In fact, this May, we're still working on it. It's called Visual Sound and Harmony at Dusk. And more of that will be coming forward soon. Unfortunately, we didn't receive any funding from the city last year, but we're hoping to convince you that Witter Gallery is worth your support and investment in the community. Witter Gallery is a benefit to the residents of our community. We stress that fine arts is an important component in a healthy community, and art is an indicator of a high quality of life, and it adds to the value of a community. Now, we're continuing to update and improve the space located in the city building shared with the Storm Lake Public Library. And since you may not have seen the application, I'd like to share with you things that we're asking for help on. As you know, there's a big window in the front of the gallery, and we'd like to put in weatherproof window treatments for the large window. And it would lower the cost for heating and cooling. Right now, the windows do leak with the air. It would protect the artwork and exhibits from sun rays. Also, sometimes we need to block the light for certain installations. This would be a double thick roller shades so they can come down easily and look nice. And they're $6,000. And then we'd like to paint the walls of the gallery. Over the last couple years, we've put up new coverings and new canvases, and now we need to add the paint. And if my sources are correct, we haven't done any painting in there, which is kind of ironic for a gallery. But anyway, we haven't painted in there for about 30 years, the walls. We want to revamp our storage area to organize and protect our permanent art collection. This includes the the artwork by Ella Witter and Dorothy Skewis, our namesake, and also our World War I and World War II posters. Utilizing our space for storage and display with a way of securing those permanent art collections so they don't get damaged. Right now, they share space with everyday working material, and it'd be nice to have them secure.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. I'm sorry, time is up.
Oh,
I hate to
okay.
cut you off.
Hey, I was on a roll.
Yeah, I know, you are. You know, sounds good. We will work out to find out where your paperwork is, but we appreciate you coming forward tonight and giving us your ideas and background.
Okay, thank you.
Gina's doing the annual report. Mr. Larson. Okay, we will now hear about the 2025 City Annual Report.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and Council. Good to see you again. As you know, for the past couple of years, we've been preparing a mid-year and an annual report. This goes to both the council and the public, and the main reason we're doing this is to share our activities with the public. It's part of our ongoing effort in community outreach and transparency in keeping with our city council goals. The annual report features many of the projects that were completed during 2025 or they're still ongoing at this point, as well as the achievements and milestones of each of our city departments during the past year. This report not only helps to inform the public, but serves as a measurement to assure the city government is progressing in following the goals and strategic plans that the city council has laid out for us. At this time, we have a draft available for the council's review, and when this is approved or any changes that you would like to see are added, we'll release this to all of our available channels, including our website, social media, copies shared with local newspaper and radio, and printed copies that will be available at City Hall. And we'd be glad to take any questions.
Questions or comments from the council? So to review, this is a draft, and you'll be coming back to us for approval, correct?
It's basically ready to go unless there's anything you'd like to add or change, so we can do that.
Okay, it'll be up to the council.
Very colorful.
Any questions or comments? Would the council like to, I would entertain a motion then to accept the report as presented.
So move.
Moved by Councilperson Ramos. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilperson Martinez. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. It's accepted. Thank you, Mr. Larson. Okay, next we have ordinance number 060225-226. Change city, to the city code section 592I1.
Yeah, Mayor and Council, this is an item we discussed during our November 17th council work session. And our code enforcement officer, Colette Baker, did some research, and she'd been to a staff training and came across another city doing this.
I went out of order. That's okay. Okay, sorry. Sorry, I went out of order. Go ahead, Mr. Olson.
Sorry, Mayor. Yeah, this is on the Neighborhood Volunteer Program. This is something Ms. Baker kind of came up with, and it's been done in other cities. So this is another way to try and get things cleaned up. On occasion, you had somebody that either has financial difficulty, physical difficulty, age, and just can't physically do what they need to do. We're basically in this, we're talking about starting off with just mowing and scooping sidewalks. And so basically, this will allow us to kind of be the middle person between volunteers and the people that need help. So I did attach the two waiver forms. We'd have to have both the homeowner and the volunteer program have to sign that before they go ahead and do this. And again, we just pretty much act as when our code enforcement officers come across these where they're not getting cleaned up, this gives us an opportunity to talk to them and find out what their issues are. without having to go through citations and that sort of thing, trying to find another solution to a problem we have. And so it's worked in other places. We thought at least try it. So it seemed like a good way to try and bridge a gap there. I did attach the kind of an overall assessment of how this program works. So basically, we line up the volunteers with the types of, we ask for them on social media and the Storm Lake website. We get the list and we kind of find out what they're willing to do. And then we have the code enforcement officer work with the our person within the organization that would kind of be the liaison between those two. So if it doesn't get cleaned up for whatever reason, then the code enforcement has to go back and check and then go the other route if we have to. So it just gives us another step, another alternative.
Questions from the council?
I do have one. On
Councilperson Martinez.
On the neighborhood volunteer program attachment, it's the last page of the attachment. I'm not sure I don't like the word repeat offenders. Makes them seem like they're
Yes, ma'am.
offending somebody, and, you know, we're trying to help people that are kind of in a bind. Words matter, that's all.
I would hope.
I really like the idea, though.
Yes, ma'am. And I would hope that if somebody has like an ongoing problem, that's not like short-term solution, that we'd be able to maybe connect them with people that are willing to do it on an ongoing basis. I guess the initial thought was to try and at least make that connection for things that happen. You know, you're just getting out of the hospital, you can't walk or whatever because of a surgery or something. But I would think if we had an elderly person or somebody that was physically disabled permanently, that would maybe be able to connect them with somebody that's willing to do this, and that would be helpful for them and us both. I agree.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's the terminology that we're concerned about on that
Yes,
last
ma'am.
point. So,
We can correct that.
other questions from the
I have a
council?
question.
Councilperson Ramos.
The waiver release of liabilities, that between the person volunteering with the owner of the property, is that what it is? So if
Yes, ma'am.
something happens while they're cleaning up, or?
Yeah, I think it helps protect the homeowner a little bit and protects the volunteer. That, like I said, the city doesn't physically do anything with this. It's totally volunteer basis, but I think it protects both of them that way. It kind of lays out what their roles and responsibilities are. So protect both parties.
Councilperson Reiner.
Is this I'm assuming this is kind of a new program. Where do you see the volunteers being pulled from?
Well, we have various, civic groups and religious organizations, those types of things. I think in the community that Ms. Baker got this from, that's typically what it is, just Kiwanis, church groups, those types of things that have people that are willing to volunteer. So, the initial movement would be to try and put out requesting for people that are willing to do these types of things, and we'll specifically start with mowing and snow removal for sidewalks and see if anybody's even interested, but that's the first step. And once if the council approves this, then that's where we'd start, sir.
Because I know where there happens to be a lot of young, strong-backed people. And a lot of them need volunteer hours for different, I know that the university is really wanting community engagement. That's one of the things that student organizations, their allocations are tied to how involved in the community they are. And so I would not overlook that pool of easily directable mowers and shovelers.
I appreciate that. Thanks, sir.
Other questions? I saw a couple of hands. Councilperson Rickliffs.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, I think this is a great idea. I think it hits on some of the points that we've heard from others, and I would just make sure that, the community knows that. I know we've had interest of people saying they want to help and clean up the town. I mean, this is a great way to do that, so I think it's a great idea.
Thank you.
No?
Yeah, I got a question.
Yes,
Say a church group or something is involved in this, and they've had multiple people doing it. How will that affect these waivers?
I think it'd probably be a case-by-case basis, Councilperson Piercy. So if, say, one of the churches was willing to do this, and say there was somebody that had a long-term thing going on, I think they would have to, and that might even be outside this program. I think this is meant for kind of a short-term solution. But I would think if one church had a list of volunteers, but if you did it one week and then I did it the next week, I think, or whatever we need to do for mowing and such, I think it'd have to be, or just different places that need help. I think you'd have to have a separate waiver every time you went to a different place, even though let's say a church agreed to do this and their volunteers signed the initial waiver. I think you have to have that waiver every time you go to a different property, otherwise it wouldn't apply.
Ms. Navratil, do you want to clarify the protections for the city?
Yes, Honorable Mayor and Council, by signing this waiver, we're also removing the liability from the city of Storm Lake as well.
Other questions? Okay, I think it's a great idea, too. I like
Yeah.
neighbors helping neighbors, so I think wherever we can encourage it, that's great.
This is Ms. Baker's work, so I appreciate she did it, so,
So thank you. Thank her on our behalf.
yes, ma'am.
So if there are no other questions, I will accept a motion to approve the neighborhood volunteer program.
So moved.
Wow. Now who do I pick? Motion by Councilperson Martinez. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilperson Reiner. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. It's approved. Thank you, Mr. Olson. Okay, now I'll go to number 4. And you're still up here, Mr. Olson. So ordinance number 060-2025-2026, proposed change to city code section. This is the second reading.
Yeah, Mayor and Council, again, this is a request by Mike and Megan Sullivan, who are currently constructing a new dwelling on Kelvin Road. During the initial review of their building and subsequent construction start, they questioned the current 5,000 square foot limit for a dwelling that does not have to be sprinklered. And so they did some research, and they came up with some different cities that had much different rules. And they initially requested a movement up to 10,000 square foot before this requirement's triggered. And Chief Center, myself, Mr. Sullivan, Chris Chambers, my assistant, and myself had a meeting together, and we came up with a intermediate step of 8,000 square foot. And that's based off our ability to respond to fires, our staffing levels, and the kind of geography where we have to respond to. So we did some initial investigation with other cities as well, and 5,000 square foot seemed to be a bit much. So we mutually decided to go with 8,000 square foot as an amendment to make it more, keep us in line with other communities, but yet still protect our firefighters and protect the community.
Any questions or comments from the council? Have we received any feedback from the public?
We have not.
So this is the second waiving, the second reading. Having not heard anything from the public, is the council open to waiving the third reading
Yes.
and approving the ordinance? Okay. So I'll accept a motion to approve ordinance number 060-2025-2026, proposed change to the city code, section 5-9-2I1, and waive the third reading. Second reading, sorry.
Honorable Mayor and Council.
Waive second reading, sorry. I get my readings confused. All right. Motion was by Councilperson Martinez, second by Councilperson Rickliff. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Honorable Mayor and Council, we waived the second reading, so we need the voice roll call vote for adoption third. Thank you.
Okay, so I'll do the roll call on this, and then on the second reading, and then we'll do the motion to waive the third reading. Is that what you're doing?
To approve on third.
Approve on third. Okay, so roll call vote. Okay, Councilperson Piercy.
Aye.
Councilperson Martinez.
Aye.
Councilperson Rickliff.
Aye.
Councilperson Ramos.
Aye.
Councilperson Reiner.
Aye.
No opposed. Approved during the third reading. Motion to approve the third reading.
So move.
Okay, Councilperson Ramos, second.
Second.
Councilperson Martinez. Is this roll call too? The roll call vote again. Councilperson Piercy.
Aye.
Councilperson Martinez.
Aye.
Councilperson Rickliff.
Aye.
Councilperson Ramos.
Aye.
Councilperson Reiner.
Aye.
Motion passes.
I will say I am under pressure to get this meeting done quickly today because there is a significant basketball game. So this is why I am moving quicker and missing some of my cues, so my apologies.
No, it's a public hearing. Yep.
Okay, now I will open a public hearing on the next item, on the vacation of a portion of Highview Drive. Mr. Olson.
Yeah, Mayor and Council, Buena Vista Regional Medical Center has requested from the city they sell a portion of Highview Drive, basically from La Cheatham down to their north property line that they currently are situated on, approximately 0.29 acres. It would be lots 1, 2, and 3 of blocks 2 and block 3 along there. We first have to make motion and carry through the vacation of the property before we can vacate the property and sell it. So the initial thing we'll do here is have the public hearing on this, discussing this. Later in the agenda, we're setting the public hearing for the actual conveyance. So again, the city vacating and selling this property allows Buena Vista University to expand their current services there. They'll be constructing a new clinic building, and it'll be all on one campus. It'll be attached again to the northeast corner of the structure near the main entrance. So portions of the existing Highview Drive will be a part of the area that's going to be constructed. So that's what we're talking about tonight.
Questions from the council? I understand we do have a representative from BVRMC. Would you like to speak to the council?
I don't have anything to add unless you guys have questions for me.
Okay. And we have not received any input from the public elsewhere. Okay. *6 for anybody online who wants to comment. Okay, hearing none, then I will close this public meeting. Hearing. Hey, Mr. Olson.
Again, Mayor and Council, this will be the first reading of the ordinance to vacate the public right-of-way, which is in a portion of Highview Drive, south of La Cheatham, into the north lot line of the current hospital facility. It will be specifically lots 1, 2, and 3 of Block 2 and Block 3. All those in the first Pleasant View addition to the city of Storm Lake, approximately 0.29 acres. If this right-of-way is sold and vacated, it'll become part of BVRMC's property, and this is to allow for a clinic addition on the northeast corner of their property. This would be an asset to the entire community, and it also allows for other communities, surrounding communities, to utilize our services here as part of their hospital campus expansion.
Questions from the council? This is the first reading. I'll accept the motion to approve ordinance number 070225-226, an ordinance vacating the public right-of-way in a portion of Highview Drive in the city of Storm Lake.
So moved.
Moved by Councilperson Rickliff.
Second.
Second by Councilperson Ramos. This is a roll call vote. Councilperson Reiner.
Aye.
Councilperson Ramos.
Aye.
Councilperson Rickliff.
Aye.
Councilperson Martinez.
Abstain.
Councilperson Piercy.
Aye.
Motion carries. Olson.
Yeah, Mayor and Council, item F7 is for the setting a public hearing for the proposal to convey a portion of Highview Drive, subject to the council approving the vacation of this property. This would set the resolution date for March 2nd, 2026 at the city council meeting of that day.
Questions from the council? With that, I will accept the motion to approve resolution number 45-R 2025-2026, fixing a date for a public hearing on the proposal to convey a portion of Highview Drive and providing for publication of notice.
I so move.
Moved by Councilperson Piercy, second.
Second.
Councilperson Reiner. This is a roll call vote. Councilperson Piercy.
Aye.
Councilperson Martinez.
Abstain.
Councilperson Rickliffs.
Aye.
Councilperson Ramos.
Aye.
Councilperson Reiner.
Aye.
Resolution passes. Mr. Olson.
Yes, Mayor. This item would be setting a public hearing for rezoning the 6 parcels that the hospital owns currently, the same lots 1, 2, and 3 on blocks 2 and 3 of the First Pleasant View addition to the city of Storm Lake. Currently, those are zoned in the IN district. This would be a rezoning, or excuse me, in the R1 district. This would be a rezone to the IN3 district of these parcels, subject to the right-of-way being vacated and conveyed to the city. This would allow the construction of the proposed medical center addition to this parcel by BVRMC. P&Z will meet on February 9th to review this application, make a recommendation to the City Council, and then on February 16th, this is what this agenda item will set for the City Council to review the P&Z's recommendation for rezoning of this parcel owned by BVR, the 6 parcels owned by BVRMC.
Questions from the council?
I have one.
Councilperson Piercy.
Do notices have to be sent out to anybody in that area?
Yes, sir. From the 6 parcels that are under consideration to be rezoned, we'll send them out 300 feet from the boundaries of that.
Other questions of the council? Then, hearing none, I will entertain a motion to approve resolution number 46-R 2025-2026, fixing a date for a public hearing on the proposed rezoning of 6 parcels located on Highview Drive.
So moved.
Moved by Councilperson Ramos.
Second.
Second by Councilperson Rickliffs. This will be a roll call vote. Councilperson Reiner.
Aye.
Councilperson Ramos.
Aye.
Councilperson Rickliffs.
Aye.
Councilperson Martinez.
Abstain.
Councilperson Piercy.
Aye.
Motion passes. Mr. Olson, you're still here.
And Mayor and Council, this is a request to rezone a piece of property that's currently owned by Buena Vista University, located at 942 Oneida Street, so it's directly south of the other lots that the building trades program at the state, or excuse me, at the high school here in town has been building single-family dwellings for sale, and kids get trained in all the aspects of construction that go on there. This is the last lot they're going to be able to build along Oneida Street there. Currently, it's zoned as an IN district. Since it's owned by the university, the proposal goes from IN1 Public Services Zoning District to the R4 High Density Residential. Currently, the lots that the school's been building on are the R4, so this would be an extension of that, going from IN to R4. So as a precursor to them making the sale, they're requesting this zone to be changed to allow them to put this construction of the new single-family dwelling here. Again, the P&Z will meet on February 9th, and they'll review the request, make a recommendation to the council, and you guys will hear it on February 16th, 2026 for your review of this proposed zoning change.
Questions from the council? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve resolution number 47-R-2025-2026, fixing date for public hearing for the proposed rezoning of 942 Oneida Street.
Moved.
Moved by Councilperson Martinez. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilperson Piercy. This will be a roll call vote. Councilperson Piercy.
Aye.
Councilperson Martinez.
Aye.
Councilperson Rickliffs.
Aye.
Councilperson Ramos.
Aye.
Councilperson Reiner.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Mr. Gibbons.
Presentation, or work session. Honorable Mayor and
We're
Council.
going to go to work session.
We have budget work sessions tonight. Expect them for probably the next five meetings.
Let's get it going.
Get down there.
Let's do it.
Yeah, we'll just go down in a more intimate setting. And then we'll just stand down there. Yep, and we'll still stand there. Yep.
Yeah, so council, we will stay down at the table for the next item, which will be a presentation by Mr. Gibbons. So you don't have to move back and forth.
You won't need your computer for that. Have before the next council meeting when we set the public hearing for the capital improvement plan. So I'm going to hand it over to our finance director, Mr. Gibbons.
Thank you. So over the course of the last couple of meetings we put together, we gave council all the itemized projects, kind of with brief descriptions, costs, and then a summary page for each one. What's before you today is just the summary page for each one. You have the details of each of those projects from the prior meetings, but these items and these projects proposed in fiscal year 27 prioritize projects that achieve both departmental and city council goals. As an annual appropriation body, the council is only allowed to allocate dollars in the column of 2027. Years 28 through future are all for planning purposes. Some of you may recall that about 8 to 10 years ago, we had major spikes in our capital improvement plan previously. So we worked hard with staff and we actually got an equipment rotation schedule created, and it's actually built out about 10 to 15 years for those rotation of those equipment. So though you may see something such as a seal coat or a utility vehicle on here for this year, well, there also may be one about 10 years down the road because it's just as part as our rotation schedule. A big one was our golf course. We would see spikes of almost $500,000 in 1 year for equipment and then about 4 years of no equipment. So in order to kind of level that out, not only for the golf course, but for all the other departments, the stability and consistency of what's needed in each given year is how you have this CIP provided to you. So just a couple of changes that have happened since you saw those in the last couple of meetings. As discussed during the last meeting, the police department's radar trailer, I believe Ripke's crew was able to get it completely repaired, and they were able to get the parts.
Parts ordered.
Parts are ordered, excuse me. So, due to that, there's no need for a second unit, according to the department, so that has actually been removed. The Kings Point lobby remodel project, it was kind of just to put it in front of council so you're aware of what the requirements are, what the ask was there for Kings Point, but the actual lobby renovations have been delayed a year due to funding sources, and prioritize the roof repairs that are needed at the indoor water park. The street department Oneida street project, this is phase 2. The original scope of the project was different than what it is now. In looking at it and reviewing it with the engineers on the scope as well as the timeline. Previously, it was provided in about a 50-50 cost and funding allocation. This has actually been transitioned to more on fiscal year 28, so you'll see a smaller lump sum by the time you bid the project and the work that'll be done on the front half, and the majority of the project in fiscal year 28. So that's another change on there. One other change is on the Geisinger Road project. This project has actually been modified to the alternative solution of the chip and seal project for the $35,000. The additional $100,000 have been allocated toward the infrastructure management plan. As Ripke said, it changes each year on what they will allocate those dollars for and locations, but this will allow them to do further infrastructure management projects within that plan. So since this project also was requested by local residents in the area and a public purpose can be identified, the project is eligible for a special assessments should the residents approve. I think we had the conversation before that they're currently paying for some other alternative with a solution costing about $35,000 to $36,000. How would the council like to proceed with that project, whether it be funded 100% by that infrastructure management plan or an alternative source if it's a request of the local residents? Because this street is actually owned half by the city and half by the county, no matter what, we'll need some sort of agreement in order to do any type of work there, but just needed some direction on the council on how they'd like to proceed with the funding for that project.
Council, questions, comments?
So the $35,000, right? That would be for the, because I'm not intelligent on this part, the whole street, right? Even the part that's owned by the county.
Correct.
And the county is putting in what dollar amount?
The county would just be allowing us to do the work.
It's very
very nice.
benevolent.
Well, they have agreements with the property owners for the road on the county side, so technically they could say no and not have any improvement there. So
sure,
this would be, it would just be an agreement that we would have with the county that says that we're gonna do this improvement. This improvement would be more than likely the chip and seal that we're looking at. It's the most cost-effective way right now to give a harder surface that will stop the dust control. The county would still have to approve that agreement. But my preliminary conversations right now is that as long as we maintain the road, there is no cost associated with the improvements, and that there's no drainage issues that would come up from this hardened surface, and they would more than likely review that and hopefully accept it. I haven't formally went to the supervisors. This depends on what happens here today.
How long do you think the chip seal will last? 3 years?
There it might be, they usually say, depending on the road, yeah, anywhere up to 10 years, depending on the amount of traffic. That one, traffic's gone down quite a bit since, who is it? Garbage hauling is no longer out there. There used to be a lot of truck traffic with their trucks and stuff. So there is traffic, but the bigger truck traffic is down now, so.
Honorable Mayor and Council, sorry, I can get that out. We have our engineer here tonight too, who can answer some of these questions.
This was actually a double chip, so they would actually do 2 layers of chip seal and then a fog over top to keep the dust down. So it's not just a 1 layer, so it's a little heavier.
And that would just be the north edge of where the houses are, right?
Yeah, it'd be to like where 10th Street would come all the way across if it did.
How many homes about?
Right now, that is, their backyards are affected by the dust are 11. There could be potential additional homes that would be affected by the dust. I mean, there has to be a plan that is put together. So there may be a little bit more than 11 homes that would be affected on and this is if it's a voluntary assessment.
Yeah.
So this isn't coming in and the city saying, hey, if you want us to do this, then we're going to voluntarily assess you. It would be a petition that they would have to file. And if they don't file a petition, then that would be something that the council is gonna have to consider. Do you wanna do the work without an assessment or do the work with the assessment?
So we have no idea how much, if that property is, a particular property is assessed, what that would cost or bring in?
Not at the moment, no. It would be, you can only assess a certain amount. I mean, you would recoup most of your costs, I should say. So per lot, I don't know.
How many streets in town do we have that aren't? I know we got Rothmore Road, we got part of 3rd Street, East 3rd Street.
Yep, that are still gravel.
There's part of Railroad Street that's kind of a mess there, I think. If it's still
Yeah, I don't know if it's really a road or a gravel, like an alleyway more. But yeah, 3rd and, yep, Rothmore.
And the assessments are over, it's not just 1 year, you can assess up to 10 years. So it could be a nominal fee up to that 10-year period. We would just work with our engineer on like determining what the actual area is that is affected. I mean, there is some pretty good state code written there on how an assessment can happen. So you could be looking at minimum of 11 homes up to, what do you say, Luke, 20, 30? When we preliminary looked at this?
Yeah,
and I say
probably
preliminary.
The other side of Evergreen would be about the furthest you could go. You would have to have required documentation of a problem in the area, and is this going to directly affect those lots' specialty, not in sort of a general manner for the rest of the community.
Yeah, so a minimum 13
So
homes.
when if we do this treatment and we do the whole road, including the part that is owned by the county, then we're gonna be responsible for the upkeep and maintenance of the part that is owned by the county forevermore?
So like plowing snow and everything, I'm assuming?
Yes, Honorable Mayor and Council, that would be part of the agreement.
Which we do 2 blocks of it normally to get to the one, so it's, I mean, as a snowplow driver, yeah, it sucks because you gotta go up and turn around, but it's only a block extra.
Because basically the county owns to the middle of the road, and we own from the middle of the road.
The other way.
To the west, yeah.
And Honorable Mayor and Council, we do have agreements with the county already that we have roads that we maintain, and they have roads that they maintain in city limits as well for snow plowing. So it's not an uncommon agreement, it'd just be one that we would just update.
So my understanding, council, is that we are being asked to give some direction tonight on moving forward on how we want to pay for this, if we want to pay for this. Do you want to move forward with assessments? You have other options.
Now, Honorable Mayor and Council, if there's no decision that's made tonight and we want to think about it, I would recommend that we keep the number in here. And then as we get closer to next fiscal year, we're going to have to continue or have those conversations. So if the assessment is something that council is interested in, that's how it's going to be funded in the CIP right now. If not, then we would amend that out at a later date.
Most likely take away from that infrastructure management plan or in other portions of town, most likely.
Or we would move that project down 1 year. If we have spent, Brandon's looking at me, unless if we have spent those funds already, right?
We'd like to.
In other locations of the city.
So what is the preference of the council? David?
I'd like to just put it off for a year and then see.
Do we need a motion?
No, I just
Work
need
session.
direct, yeah, this is just a work
direction, so
session.
we don't need a motion. Are people in agreement with postponing this for at least a year?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think be okay with that.
I think we have concurrence on that.
The next project, kind of looking for direction, so we were looking at the C63 sidewalk project. That was another community request. When determining the public benefit and the private benefit, very similar to what we had to do on Geisinger to determine who's eligible, for the type of assessment, but how much of that support is actually a full community support. This project actually posed more as a private benefit to very limited group of individuals. Plus, you couple that with proposing to cross a major DOT route and going as far as distinguishing between the definition of a sidewalk and the definition of a trail. It'd be a tough project to move forward with anything else besides city dollars. Should you get the approval, should you get the determinations. And because of the scope of the project currently, it's a significant investment for that private benefit as I identified before. So the question is, how would the council like to proceed with this project? We had $18,000 in there just to kind of do a traffic study to see if a hawk signal type crossing would be eligible in that area. We've also, I believe, made contact with the DOT or attempts to make contact with the DOT even without a study if they would consider it. But is this an endeavor the council would like to continue with for all city, most likely funded 100% by the city?
I know it's a safety issue there, but financially, at this time, I'm a little hesitant to do that kind of money. I know it's only $18,000 for the study, and it's proposed that it probably costs $950,000. I think it's going to be way over that when it's all done, if it's done. So right now, I just don't see it as financially as a good idea to look into it.
I don't see any, correct me if I'm wrong, there are no parks for the children that live in that neighborhood, is that correct?
Not in the neighborhood, it's across the street from Emerald Park.
So they're like a little island out there without, right?
Right.
Westlake Estates area. And this would, if it was all done and perfect, maybe get them safely to a park.
It potentially, yes. So, but you wouldn't be able to cross, the only area you'd be able to cross that is on C63.
Right. But there's a park there.
Would there,
Yeah.
would there be any possible state funding that we could put in, make it a trail somehow coming across there so we could get trail money for it?
Those applications are pretty hard to come by. We've put in a lot of applications on easier routes that affect bigger or more of the community than just one neighborhood. I would say that would, I mean, we can still apply for it. I would say we would probably not get it though.
I couldn't think of, I've looked at the aerial pictures, there's really, be great if it could go straight over to where the tennis courts are, but I just don't. It'd be a lot cheaper, but unfortunately, we still gotta go along the highway somewhere.
So in order to get the, I call the word trail lightly, because really the definition would be more of a sidewalk. You would have to get easements or acquire property on, I think it's 6 or 7 property owners. And then you would have to work with the DOT to install the hawk system, hawk lighting system, and then be able to cross over 110. Also with that situation, Highway 110 is 50 miles an hour. When you start coming down that road, that's the next request is, are we gonna have DOT change the speed limit? I've had conversations, it's been years ago, and the likelihood of changing the speed limit is pretty low.
It'd be cheaper to put it in a playground on the other side of the highway.
Yeah,
I'd say
I
at this
just think this
time,
might be too much.
It'd be nice to have the speed limit lowered out there, because I know people come through there pretty fast, and you pop over that hill coming from the south, and it's, you know, if somebody's crossing right there, it is not the best. But I don't think the state would ever agree to lower the speed limit. I mean, it's like 35 miles an hour out there wouldn't hurt anything. It's not like it takes that much longer to go a mile at 35 than it does at 45, but.
So other council people, so we've had two people say that we probably should pass on this at this time. Other council members, weigh in.
Kind of on the, let's wait.
Thank you.
The other one that we're kind of looking at, the request has come in since we reviewed for this. Currently, the city council and the owners of the mini golf course that is adjacent to the golf course currently have a lease term which expires in October 31st of 2028. There has come a opportunity to terminate that lease early and basically take ownership as is of the mini golf. So kind of the question would be is, A, if the council's interested in proceeding with the early termination of that agreement. The way the agreement currently reads was to make it back to green space, should either party desire or should the city desire at the end of that lease. The request for this is not to be in that condition, so the next question would be is if you would elect to terminate that lease early, the necessary repairs to keep it a mini golf. We've heard or have estimates from anywhere from $200,000 to $400,000 of necessary repairs that are needed at that location, or should the council desire to do something completely different. You'll obviously have costs associated with that. The only cost we have right now is the renovations to keep it a mini golf course. But should you elect to terminate that lease early, then you would kind of have the discretion or determination of what you would like to do with that property. So kind of a twofold question. First off, would you like to do that and plan a project? And if so, that project, what would you like to see?
Question, so what is the cost of terminating the lease? Is there any cost, just saying, okay, no, there's no cost to that, right? You don't have to buy out the lease or anything
No,
like that?
Honorable Mayor and Council, they're actually gonna give it to us as is.
They're no longer interested in investing any more in it from the last conversation, correct?
Right. So we don't own it, we don't invest any dollars in it. I mean, there is a need for investment in the mini golf if that's something that council would like to consider and take over early. Now, that being said, we have a lease that ends in 2028 as well. We're already in 2026.
Yeah, well, I mean, what good does it, I guess, do? I mean, what money has been spent to keep it up at?
Our money?
No, not, I know
No,
not
no,
us.
no, it's-
Yeah. But has there been any upkeep done out there?
Has there been investment in the property? There's been basic investment in the property. Amy Von Bank is the general manager of Kings Point, and by default, SNL is also the management company of the mini golf. Amy can,
But there's numerous things wrong with it.
Yeah,
Which is where the repairs, I mean, the water isn't working, we don't, I mean,
Yeah, there's.
what's the
pumps
reason
are
for walking
failed,
away from
pipes are
something?
leaking.
And the estimate's 100 to 200,000 to put it into good shape.
Well, just to replace the pumps
Just
and to
patch
recarpet
that
the holes is
Yeah.
like almost 35,000,
I
or
just-
no, 40, almost 50,000.
Yeah.
That's just for two things.
And then the cave has got some issues, and the fencing, and yeah, there's just quite a few things.
There's pipes buried in concrete
I
that are
couldn't-
leaking.
I couldn't justify the money because I don't see a payback on it. That's just my opinion of it. If it was a business decision, private business, you wouldn't do that.
Do you have to keep all the cave and the water? And I know all around the country there are mini golf that are just mini golf, and they do fairly well because the draw is mini golf, not a cave.
Right.
So would there be any benefit to exploring what it would take to simplify and keep it as an attraction, as something for kids to do here in town, but maybe not worry about the pirate ship and all that other stuff?
So remove it from, just remove it or keep it as is?
See, I don't know. That's kind of the question I have. Would there be any benefit to? I don't think keeping it as is going to be financially responsible for $500,000 of city money for mini golf. For $500,000, you could build, I don't know how many normal mini golf courses. So I just didn't know what it would, if we've given any thought to what it would take to keep it mini golf, but maybe simplify the area so the upkeep is not nearly as arduous. I just think it's a valid question to ask.
Yeah, and just correct me if I'm wrong, but there's other issues. I mean, it's not just the water, it's not just the cave, like there's the holes and stuff within the actual course itself.
Yeah, cups need re-tune.
Equipment has not been placed and upkept, just the putters, the balls. So nothing has been put back into keeping it as an attractive attraction. Probably needs painting.
I can just, if we get rid of it, I can just hear, I can hear the townspeople saying, well, there's another thing that we've lost.
Oh, for sure.
Do we have any indication of how much usage it actually gets? Because that's another.
Is that a fair question to ask, given its current condition?
I don't know how much, what the highest point of usage has been. And is it mostly local, or is it the people who are staying at the resort?
I can tell you, I got a hole in one once, and I don't want to see it leave, because it's the only time I've ever done that.
You want us to memorialize that hole?
I will pay for the hole, if that's what it takes to keep it. I don't know that we need.
You can sponsor that hole.
Because actually, there are sponsors on those holes that apparently that they don't sponsor them, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what that meant.
That's common
those
on mini
sponsors.
golf courses. So.
We don't own it, so we don't know how that happened.
What that
I
is,
can't answer.
I would probably go with Councilman Reiner. I think it is a benefit to the community. Do we need a pirate ship? I don't know if we need a pirate ship.
In the scope of that, yeah, I mean, we could look at, absolutely, I mean, this is just what it would take basically to get it back to its original form, or to the best of our ability to get there. There's a lot of different scopes that you can look for on a mini golf course, and we can look into all those. I guess more of the question is going to be, it's going to require local dollars to do so, and are we kind of planning to accept them on their terms now, or are we going to kind of wait and see what we can come up with in the next couple of years while the lease actually expires? It's kind of the direction that we're looking
Except
for.
it could be that while we are waiting for the lease to expire, no further improvements or upkeep are done by the current owners, and it becomes more of a eyesore and not usable, and then that reflects poorly on us, but it also reflects poorly on Kings Point, because I think the majority of people who drive by it assume it's owned by Kings Point, and that's not true. So I think there's a lot of things that, for me, I am concerned about with it.
It's kind of hard because it doesn't seem like we know, we don't have numbers to look at to see how much usage did it have within the community.
Can we try to get that?
Honorable Mayor and Council, I think Amy
Amy's
is
trying to
Amy is trying to pull that stuff
No, I know.
information. So with the numbers I have before you, the 200 to 400,000, we got those from SNL. They're our management company. They're the ones that have been through mini golf remodel, mini golf construction. You're still having to invest heavily in the property that's already there. I don't feel that there's been a lot of investment in the last few years since I've been here for any of that that maintenance. I think there's been some minimum maintenance going on, the mowing, the weeds, but that's about it. Right, Brandon? I know I'm looking at you.
Yeah, that's done by.
That's by Kingsborn
By
staff,
Kingsborn, yeah.
right?
And honestly, because of the conditions and the lack of investment, it is a significant amount of time. It really does need some work for sure with the weeds and everything.
Are there any safety concerns because the cave and the ship and things have not been maintained? Is this a safe environment for the kids at this point?
I'm not certain if
Bridges need some
the bridges.
work, but they're not, but there's some bridges that need some work. The other challenge is the accessibility if someone had some issues with accessibility because there's not a lot of pathways.
So just for reference, in a previous year, I was looking at a budget for the mini golf. Their annual budget revenue is about $40,000 a year, $40,000 to $60,000 a year, with their operating costs anywhere from $17,000 to $34,000 a year. So you're looking right around about a $20,000 to $25,000 operating profit. So when you're talking about a return on investment or those other types of things, when looking at it, and again, it's an amenity to the community, just like you said, and for the kids. So not everything's always supposed to, in a business world, make money as being an amenity, but
It just needs the right management.
And the reason we bring this up forward too, I know that there's going to be some discussions coming forward on property tax and reform and I think, I don't want to steal your thunder, Tyler. I think we're going to have some discussion on what a core service is. And I know that's been a huge discussion at the legislative level is what is recreation and what does that mean to your community? Is recreation a core service or is recreation not a core service? And that's been the discussions that we've been hearing at the committee levels that we've been listening to, and how are we going to spend our tax dollars? And this is a big investment, $200,000 to $400,000. And costs aren't going to get any cheaper in the future. We do have an agreement until 2028. Is that is a direction from council? Do we want to take this time, maybe put some money aside to have an inspection, to have a plan, because those are going to cost money. If you're going to change the way it looks, if you're going to do any changes to that footprint, it's going to be a plan that you're going to have to pay for.
What is the option of the owners trying to sell it to someone else? Why does it have to be the city?
I believe that's in the original lease that there's no third-party exchange.
Not unless if we agree to it.
Yeah.
But for it to stay as a mini golf, right, and not sell it to make I'm not gonna say the word, something else.
Right, it's our land.
Right, okay.
It's our land,
Okay.
so that's the way the agreement is written, is that it will have to be reverted in by October 31st of 2028, unless if the council has a 3-year extension and they grant that the land has to go back to green space, because it's ours. It's not, it doesn't belong to the property or the company.
Do we have
So
any
they
idea of what it would cost to
rent.
revert it to green space? Because all that stuff's got to be bulldozed out. Pipes are going to have to get dug up and things like that. So if we revert it to green space, we're talking
That's
an investment as well.
That's their cost, though.
It's their cost.
Oh, their cost.
Yep,
Never
sorry.
mind,
I
yeah.
may have left that part out, yeah. No, it's at their cost.
I don't know what it costs to build a simple, not as fancy of a mini golf course.
Probably about 400,000. That was a number that SNL got when they built one about 5 years ago. So
Around 6.
6 years ago now? I don't think 6 years ago.
600.
Oh, 600. No, you're looking at an investment. Yeah, you're still looking at a pretty healthy investment. But if that's the direction, we can start setting money aside now for that.
I'm not sure that we need to stop the lease, I mean, the game, but we could put a little money aside, knowing that it's gonna cost money to refurbish it.
I would agree. I think we just ride it out and see if we can put some money aside for now.
Okay.
I mean, I don't wanna lose it, but at the same time, there's a lot more important things, I guess.
Have they paid us anything?
No.
So we have a lease. They were supposed to be paying us. They have not paid us during the term of the lease.
Correct. Well, they haven't paid for at least 7 or 8 years. I'm not certain about.
How much were they supposed to pay in that time?
It was 3% of their gross revenues.
So they're not making anything.
So they haven't made any payments for 7 or 8 years.
And they've been making some profit.
But you're saying about 20 a year, right?
Yeah.
They also have a loan. They had a loan. I don't know if they still do. We don't know what that business piece is. So we only see what's taken in on our side and then what's expended on our side. We don't know what other cost there is for a loan. I mean, is there insurance in there? We don't know what they pay for insurance either. It's private, so we wouldn't have access to all of that.
So is it insured under the city right now? It's not at all?
No.
Okay. So that would have to agree, that would be a cost to the city if we did that.
Yeah, we just wrap it into our.
Wrap it into the rest.
Right.
Well, then maybe we get a little money if we took the lease back? I mean, theoretically?
Well, we'd have to put in the $200,000 to $400,000 of improvements first.
Do we have to, we could be saying we're going to fix it, it's kind of like buying a used car. I'm not gonna maybe paint it this year, but I'll paint it in 2 years. We could own it, and at least we'd be.
A lot of moving parts.
Yeah.
There are a lot.
There are, really, like.
For mini golf.
Yeah.
So many moving parts.
But would SNL, would that be SNL's money? If we took the lease back and we owned it?
It would be our money.
It'd be our money.
Right.
It'd probably be coupled with the golf course, just roll it into the operations of the golf course.
Yeah, so you'd have to have an amended agreement with SNL to
But-
include mini golf
But
and the
just
golf
for
course.
education purposes, so if we take it back, so then they won't turn it into green space if we request that?
No.
Not if we take it back.
We get it as is.
Not if we take it back, but if we wait until the end, then we could ask them to bring it back to green space.
Per the agreement, it has to go back to green space.
That's why I think we should just leave it
Yeah,
and
leave it
decide,
and
and
say
if we
no.
don't.
Let's say, we could come back next year and have the same conversation.
Yeah.
Right.
If it goes back to green space, once it's done, once they've done all the
Yeah.
work, then we have a conversation about what do we put on that green
Right.
space.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be $400,000 if we do mini golf anyway. But then you're starting from scratch.
I think set money aside and come
Sometimes
back.
it's easier to start over than it is to.
Sometimes.
Sometimes it is.
Easier to start over than trying to fix what's there.
I mean, and I guess the other thing is, and I don't mean just throwing it out there, but your whole idea, I mean, is there a way we could figure out how to find multiple investors to help, pay for it?
Yeah,
You know,
so-
like,
so
put names
on
like-
Once we own it.
Yeah.
On the golf course, we do the same thing. We have kind of a plaque, they get a plaque out there for sponsorship, full sponsorship. It's an opportunity that you'd be able to look at with mini golf as well.
I mean, if the community really wants it, I mean, it's a way to, try
Adopt
to
a whole
encourage.
program.
Right.
Pay $100 a year and get your name on there. I don't know how much it would be, but.
Okay, so watching our time, I want to keep my office for just at least another month. What I seem to be hearing is the majority of council would like to just write it out and let the lease end its natural course. Is that right?
Yeah.
And this will be on the table again maybe next budget. Okay? There's your direction.
The last question though, do they have the opportunity to not make this mini golf in the next 2 years during this lease? Or could they turn it to green space tomorrow?
That would have to be agreed with by city council.
Okay, so
Which,
that's not.
again, it could happen. They could say that we're not gonna do that and.
But then we can revisit this discussion.
Mhm.
Right, okay.
Okay.
What's that?
I just forwarded it if you want to sum that
Yeah.
first column. My phone's not summing it.
Can we move on to the next item?
Yeah, so I guess those were kind of the items that we wanted to address, or that we kind of needed direction on. I just wanted to open it up if there were any other concerns about specifically the items in column 27 going forward. As Carrie mentioned, at the next meeting, we'll be setting the public hearing, and to maintain that timeline for budget adoption, we just wanted to address any concerns the council may have with 2027.
On some of these items, do we get the state bid, or there's something called Omnia Partners? So when we go to purchase like the PTAC units for the motel or lawnmower or something, do we check into that to see if there is? There's a lot of companies involved in that. Everything from
Some
Granger to-
some you're eligible for, just like vehicles and patrol vehicles, but you have to put your bid in a year and a half in advance.
Okay.
We're annual appropriation, so we're only accounting for dollars in one fiscal year. So actually, the dollars for July 1st this year aren't even available until after you adopt your budget in April.
Okay.
So we've already missed last year's deadline to acquire some of those. Although I know that there's other items where we do look into whether we qualify for state bid or state pricing. Just like some of our utilities, actually, we capture the state bid, just the way that the state bid them out, actually.
The only other item I had was these Lake Avenue blade signs at 60,000.
That'll be a future program that'll come to the city council from Lee, actually, on how we want to account for that, whether it's going to be a grant program for that dollar amount, whether it's going to be some sort of 50-50 split, whether we contribute certain components to that sign, how we would go about that. But that money is just earmarked for council discretion later when you select how you want to utilize that program.
Yeah, it actually came out during the sign ad hoc committee, was to provide assistance to downtown businesses for signage, so that's more of a uniform look than having a temporary sign there for like 3 years.
My only last, I promise, my last question is, I know that we had said with Kings Point, I thought that was in here somewhere, like was it $25,000 for new signage, resort signage replacement? Would we be looking at that before it gets done, or is that just we give the money and SNL decides what they do with that money?
That could be typically whatever council would like to see it.
I just don't want another sign that's electric. That's a personal opinion.
Oh, okay.
I don't know
But
what you get for $25,000.
It is an electric sign, just so that you can show like if there's any specials, if there's any water park. That's what is in here, is for the electric sign.
And that's going to be at the roadside where the Kings Point sign is now?
Yeah.
I think as Amy presented, I still don't think that people know that Ricotta Grill is actually inside.
Yeah.
Signage doesn't necessarily make people read. That's a fact of marketing. I mean, that people just don't read no smoking and people start smoking. So I would prefer not I would like something, if we're gonna, it's a nice sign now. If we're gonna do something, I would like it to be very nice, not.
So is there interest in just removing it or moving it back a year?
No, I would just like to look at it before it's purchased.
Yeah, I think we looked at all sorts of examples of signs when we had the other signage committee.
Yeah, let us sign it.
So I think we would like to see it, because I think we're talking about aesthetics. And I'm keeping in mind, as I'm driving through that and the aesthetics, on my way to a brand-new nature park, do I want a flashing sign? So I think it's worth the council's request to look at the different options that are being considered.
Okay.
Other comments or questions on the budget, council? Anything else you need from us? Okay.
We'll set the public hearing on the next council meeting.
You have 3 minutes to do your PowerPoint.
It's a good thing you, Tyler, not me.
If I can spit out everything that fast. So each year, kind of before we get into the O&M portion of the budget, I like to go over kind of what clarification each year of what property taxes is actually pay for. When, you know, people may see some of the enterprise services, whether it's Kings Point, whether it's water or sewer, they'll see things and believe that it's property tax associated. That's not always the case. We do have the difference of services that are provided through the property tax dollar, which are your essential services. And then you also have your enterprise funds, your water, sewers, stormwater, landfill, and Kings Point as your enterprise funds. So I just wanted to go through with council. In the past, we've also given this out to the public at a separate forum. Should we desire, I can do that as well. But this is for council's review today. So how are your property taxes determined? This is just a quick YouTube video that'll kind of just give a brief explanation on how they're determined.
Meet the Johnsons. They live in a typical BC municipality. They are homeowners, and each January they receive a property assessment notice from BC Assessment, along with all other property notices in BC. Later in the spring, they also receive a property tax notice from their local municipality. Property taxes are determined by your local municipality and based on the assessment value provided by BC Assessment. Let's assume an imaginary town has 3 properties, and all 3 properties have the same assessment value of $100,000. Assuming the total taxes needed to balance this town's budget is $900, then the tax rate must be set at $900 divided by 100,000 plus 100,000 plus 100,000, which equals $0.003. In order to collect the $900 needed for the town to operate for the year, that means each property would have to pay $100,000 times $0.003 or $300. Each property pays their share of taxes based on their assessment value. This looks simple, but let's see what happens the following year when assessment values change. House number 1 is assessed at $150,000, house number 2 at $100,000, and house number 3 at $70,000. House number 1's assessed value increased by 50%. House number 2 stayed the same, while house number 3 decreased by 30%. In this scenario, the town's average assessment value increased by $150,000 plus $100,000 plus $70,000 divided by 3, equaling $106,667, or 6.67%. If the total taxes needed to balance the town's budget are the same in year 2 at $900, then a new tax rate must be calculated in order to balance the budget. $900 divided by $150,000 plus $100,000 plus $70,000, which equals $0.0028125. That means the taxes that each house pays in year 2 will change to $421.88 for house number 1, $281.25 for house number 2, and $196.87 for house number 3. The town still collects the $900 needed to operate for the year, but compared to year 1, each house will pay a difference of plus $121.88 for house number 1, minus $18.75 for house number 2, and minus $103.13 for house number 3. As you can see, how your taxes change each year depends on how your assessment changes in comparison to the average assessment changes in your city. In our example, the average assessment increased by 6.67% to $106,667 in year 2. Because house number 2 and house number 3's assessment change was less than the average, they had a tax decrease, even though the city didn't collect more in total taxes. Only house number 1 with a 50% increase in assessment value had to pay a significant increase in taxes. This is a simplified picture of how your taxes are calculated each year. BC Assessment works hard to ensure your property assessment is fair, accurate, and equitable. You and your community benefit as a result. We are BC Assessment, and we value BC.
So that was just a quick description of how the property tax system works here in Iowa. So the property tax.
If you have to
Property taxes have the same effect.
Wow.
Part of our record now.
I'm looking at all your faces.
Please attribute that comment to Mr. Gibbons.
It's recording.
Nice.
Oh, that was
That's
funny.
funny.
So you.
Come back from that one.
Yeah.
So the property tax, your total assessment does have an effect on how, ultimately, how much you pay in property tax. You may be paying something different from your neighbor, from somebody down the street, or somebody in a different portion of town as well. So it has to do with the assessed value, which ultimately determines what your taxable value is. And against all of those taxable values, these are the contributors in Storm Lake toward your property tax bill. So the Storm Lake School District is about 41%. Then the city is about 34.5%. BV County is about 19.38. And then you have BV, RMC, and Iowa Central Community College kind of rounding out that end. And finally, the cemetery board. So all of those levy authorities set their levy rates on an annual basis through the same budget adoption process that you guys go through to determine the dollars for the essential services that they provide. So for last year, our rate was 15.17441. And this is our comparison to other rates. Last year when we did this, we only had everybody else's 2025 rate. We ranked up a little bit higher, but once everybody else got their rates in and completed, we fell more into the middle line. This is from communities with populations of 5,000 and more. So you can see Keokuk, I believe, is the highest at over $26 per thousand in valuation. So if I took the home assessed value, as we ran through that BC assessment presentation there, if we take the home assessed value at $240,000, and this is where I get into the assessed value determines your taxable value, because that assessed value is actually rolled back in that rate, that rollback rate, which is actually the state limitation factor. They determine that on a statewide basis, and they currently have a cap that it cannot increase statewide more than 3% in a given year. So there are caps already built into the current system that we're operating in. That gets you to $113,000. So all of those taxing entities are only allowed to tax on $113,000. That would mean the total tax rate in Storm Lake is 43.9471. That property there is going to pay $5,003 in property tax each year. So who gets what money? So there's the amount that the school, the city, the county, and all the taxing authorities get. So when I talk about the city of Storm Lake's portion of the property tax, what is it actually going to? So these are the portions that we're talking about. Over 50% go to the essential services. These are services that we provide to the community on a day-to-day basis. The next portion goes to employee benefits. That's the benefits of the people who are providing those services. Without people, we cannot provide services to our community. The other one is debt service at just at 11%, and then the self-insurance for the property and liability for the city properties. So when you take that revenue that each community or each taxing authority collects, what does that city revenue go to? So if we break that out based off of those categories, you pay $896 for essential services, you pay $571 for employee benefits, only $183 for debt service, and only $75 for the actual insurance. So when we take that by rate, what's that cost per month? So when we looked at the water stuff, we really dove into what are your actual costs on a per month basis. So when you're talking about these essential services, you call 911, you call the fire department, you want to go to the parks with your family, you want to go to some of these recreation activities, such as the mini golf or the golf course, campground. All these items are included in there, and that's what you pay on a given month for all those services that are provided by the individuals and the people that are providing those services through city employees. So what is the what is that percentage on a basis? So over 42% is actually being provided for public safety of those essential services. You have recreation, you have the airport, you have the library, you have economic development, council goals and administration, and yes, you have a municipal band. That is a portion of that. That is a voted item in Storm Lake. We have to provide local band service. So as you can see, of those essential services, of that $75 that you're paying in a given month, over half of that, almost half of that, is going to public safety. The other largest portion of that pie, recreation. So we're providing public safety and providing recreation for the youth of the community and the public safety for the entire community. So if I go back to that and I break it out, here's your core essential services. That was $74.67. And what am I paying for the essential services? On a monthly basis, you're paying $36 for public safety, $16 for recreation, $10 for council and administration, $4 for the airport, $3.57 for the library, $2.54 per month for economic development. And then you're paying that 10 cents a month. That's the breakout of your monthly bill for the essential services provided to the community by the city tax dollars. So the reason I want to talk about this, because just to segue into the O&M budget on what's happening. So just looking at the overall valuation, as I mentioned at the beginning of this, your assessed value and your taxable value are kind of big determining factors on what your own personal taxes are, but it also, as a governing body and a levy authority, what you're going to collect in those taxes and what it looks like. So fiscal year 27 revenues are going to be based off of January 25 valuations. 100% of the non-TIF valuation change from 24 to 25. So January of 24 to January 25. The community grew 5.498% in assessed value. This is a key determining factor when people will look at the community. Are you growing? Storm Lake is growing. Residential growth, a little over 5%. Commercial growth, just under. And industrial growth, almost 10%. Your community is growing and has been trending that way. Some of the things that will affect the changes going forward, as I talked about, that limitation factor set by the state of Iowa. That limitation factor for fiscal year 26 in our example was at 47.4316%. When they released the 2027 numbers, that number dropped another 2.89% to 44.5%. So though the values may have increased, you had that valuation growth, you actually see more of a reduction in, as a result of that limitation factor. So if you take the actual taxable value, then this is going to be the amount of, we grew about 6%, but how much did my taxable growth value actually change? My taxable growth changed from 24 to 25, 1.4%. That's less than the 2%, a little over 2% that we saw last year, but saves us from House File 718. If you were under the 2%, then you did not get a limitation and reduction. We had to roll ours back to $8.04 for our general fund levy. That general fund levy for those core essential services was actually rolled back and had a limitation factor built in because of House File 718. This year we will not have that. This year you have the opportunity to go back to that $8.10 levy rate, which was put in place 70s, I believe it was. So the council has that option because the taxable value did not grow that much. Taxable value for residential actually decreased. So if I said that we were taking the exact same dollars, your actual residential property overall would have a decrease in taxes paid. Your commercial had growth and your industrial had growth for taxable values. When you take the total taxable value change from 24 to 25, when you include the TIF and the non-TIF totals, we actually have a 1.285% decrease in taxable value, meaning you will collect less taxes if you ask for the same dollar amount this year, or same rate this year. So this is just a little visual representation of kind of what I'm talking about. This is a map. All of those green parcels are parcels that had increased value, assessed value, from 24 to 25. Meaning the assessor came through and said, your home is worth more dollars. Okay? The pink ones in there, those are decreases, and then the gray ones are exempt properties. Here's a map of the taxable value. So you see the difference between this map and this map. That's what those numbers mean when I say that your taxable value actually decreased, but your assessed value increased. So this map is saying your value, your assessed value, the county assessor came through and said, your property's worth more. But with the limitation factors that are currently in place, all of these properties actually have a less taxable value that you are able to put that levy against in stormwater. So yeah, the key factors in looking at your budget and looking at the revenues that are going to be available. You have less taxable value to actually tax your rate on. Some other things that'll affect this year, probably heard it in the news already, that there's currently 3 variation property tax bills, one from the House, Senate, and one from the governor. There's actually a 4th one, I believe, by the House Democrats. I believe they released theirs on Friday. So we actually have 4 proposed property tax reforms. Of those variations of the bill, some of the things include revenue growth limitation factor of 2%, meaning they won't let you go over 2% of revenue growth. So you have to factor all of your costs of operations inside a 2% cap limitation. Some of them do have consumer price index formulation included in it, where they'll consider the consumer price index when adjusting for that limitation. It reestablishes the multi-residential class in Iowa. So previously, you may have recalled that they actually rolled multi-residential back from commercial and industrial 90%, and they tried to roll that back to the residential rate, and they tried to hit a target number, and if you recall, during the budget process, they missed. Everybody had to go back, and we had about a $200,000 adjustment to our budget, but we were already in the middle of it because of that time constraint that you had. We had to proceed with it and amend it later on that year. One of them has a reserve limitation to the general fund of 10%. This is something that it would be concerning, just for consideration for the council because of the bond rating system. The bonds that you borrow money again for, you have a reserve that they like to see to make sure that you are a stable community. By limiting that and restricting it to just a 10% cap, it's going to reduce everybody's bond rating. The other thing I want you to take into consideration is the April storm that we had. There was several hundreds of thousands of dollars. If you put a 10% cap on that, we would not have been able to do any of that service. The reserves of 10% of $1 million, for example, our storm cost us more than that.
Oh, yeah.
For, I believe the mulcher was alone 70, 50, 60, 70, something like that. So
I think we're looking like 300 and some thousand is what we spent. And, you have staff time, you still have to pay people. And get equipment here and, not all of it, and very little of it, I should say, was covered by insurance. So this was cash out of pocket.
or at a preserves in this case.
Yep. Some of them have adjustments to that assessment limitation factor, the rollback, the one that went from 47 down to 44%. There's talk about how do they address that? Do they just tax you on a full 100%, but limit that on how much you can do that way? So there's a lot of different variations on how they would achieve that. It does include increases to homestead tax credit changes. And it does include one of them does include a 60-year plus exemption for non-voter approved property taxes. The only thing that I've seen on that one is it requires that the mortgages be 100% paid. I haven't really seen or read a whole lot more on that, which again, many of these items that they are trying to address in the property tax system, I recognize the age of it, but these decisions are going to have local effect. So we need to do something, we need to take a look at something, but I also think we need to get the education out there on what your property tax is actually paying for. And when you break it down on a $240,000 home, how much are you actually paying for the vital services that you have something happen and you need to call somebody for assistance.
All right.
So we'll continue to monitor all those legislative changes, but trying to get you guys out of here. We went through that kind of fast, I apologize. If you guys have any questions, kind of what we're looking into and kind of transition into O&M here starting next council meeting.
Okay. Is there anything else from the council? Anything else you would like us to look at future meetings? Okay, a reminder, this Saturday is our first legislative coffee with Representative Jones and Senator Evans at Kings Point.
Had them bring it to the clubhouse because of the water
the
damage.
clubhouse, yeah, okay. And they know that.
I will tell them, yes.
Okay. And so we'll get word out to the public about that as well. And Carrie will send us a reminder and ask who's going to be attending what. So, okay. With that, then, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So
moved by Councilperson Ramos, second by Councilperson Reiner. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Aye.
do not speed to the game. We've got plenty of time. Thank you, everybody.